Trina, I'll have to be short-winded. So, okay, so here's the message. All right. So two men are on opposite sides of a river. The first man shouts out, "How do I get to the other side of the river?" And the second man shouts back, "You are on the other side of the river." Little misunderstanding, right? Little room for interpretation there. Today's message is, it's not far. I don't know about you all, but I have this sense that this abyss exists right now. That people are standing on opposite sides of this great, grand gap. And you know, we hear a lot about reaching across the aisle these days. Sometimes in the world right now, it just feels like that aisle is too big to even fathom being able to reach across. Sometimes it just feels like a bridge too far. And I don't think I'm the only one that feels that way in today's world. However, there is an opportunity, and it's a very basic spiritual teaching, and that is empathy and understanding. You know, why do we resist stepping toward empathy and understanding? Have you asked yourself that? Okay, I disagree with that person. Okay, well that's kind of a reason. But have you ever found yourself resisting understanding and empathy because you really don't care what the other person thinks? I mean, I got to tell you, there are moments I really don't care to hear another political pundit. I don't really care to hear another analysis. What I want to hear is what I already think I know. And I notice when I hold that thought, I push myself away from a place of understanding. I push myself away from a place of empathy. I think that sometimes for me, I also resist moving toward empathy and understanding because it'll weaken my stance. You know, I am so convinced and I am so strong in my convictions of what I believe and what I think I know. And what if I allow empathy or understanding to edge into there? Will I lose my stance? Will I no longer be so strong in my convictions? And maybe I'm just too tired to argue about it. And when I feel that kind of exhaustion, and I feel it often in today's world, when I feel that, what I notice is I have said that an argument has to be the prerequisite to understanding and empathy. As if I had to get into an elevated or escalated situation in order to step back and say, okay, I'm going to be understanding. Now, last week we talked about high ground thoughts, taking the high road. But this is a little different than that. This is a little different. Empathy and understanding are practices. And today, what I'm encouraging you to get a hold of is, it's not so far. It's the other side of a thought. This is not about changing someone's mind. This is not about trying to convince them of their error way of thinking. This is more about reaching across, but also reaching through the blatant differences. This is about consciously choosing to move toward the divine in each human being, in each individual. Now we're talking about empathy and understanding. And who knows? perhaps if we can move to a place of empathy and understanding, we can actually shore up our convictions. We can stand in a stronger place of knowing, once I have heard what you may think that may be different than me, it may actually increase my argument. It may actually strengthen where I stand. I don't have to be afraid of reaching out in understanding and empathy. If I am strong in my convictions of what I know, I can stand in that. And I can be present to what your thoughts are. Do you think there's any need for this right now? Paquito? I don't have to agree with I don't have to agree with everything someone says, but everyone has something I could assimilate to make my own insight stronger and clearer. Abhijit Naskar told us that. Too far? Is it too far of a reach? Some moments it is, for me. But I think not. Because aside from the truth and the fact that we are infinite beings and that we are expressions of God, aside from all that, what we know is that science supports the fact that empathy is possible, and it's innate in our nature. Our spiritual nature to be able to stand for what we believe and come from a place of love. It's innate, science says. In the 90s, and many times since, science has proven that we are wired for empathy. I thought that was a great find. We're wired to be understanding. A group of Italian researchers discovered that the same brain cells, now stay with me on this, the same brain cells when a monkey watched a person grasp for a raisin were the same brain cells that lit up when the monkey was grasping for the raisin himself. And from that study, they took off with this, why would that be? Why would the monkey have that reaction? And through years and years and years of science, it has been proven that empathy is innate. That we as humans, the neuroscience studies have investigated that empathy is ingrained in our brain's architecture. So sorry, you can't use the excuse, well, that's just not my style. Because if you're human and you're breathing, you have an empathy gene. You really, truly are wired to come from a place of understanding. And is it any surprise when we consider principle number 1? Principle number 2. We are the essence of God, is what we're told in Unity. We are the essence of God, so of course we're empathetic. So of course we come from a place of understanding. In negotiating and teaching communication skills, we often hear the statement, I hear what you are saying. I hear what you're saying. And that gives the person empathy. It makes them feel heard, right? I offer this up. What if we started saying, I can feel that anger you're experiencing. I can feel that sense of separation that you are feeling right now. Hearing someone is not the same as agreeing with them. Hearing someone is not the same as agreeing with them. It could be that about being fully aware of where you are and where you stand, and that it is confirmed and while opening up to their divinity rather than their direction. What if we opened up in empathy and understanding and remembered that they too are the essence of God? That we don't have to be thinking that we have to take their side or support their stand. We can step back and realize their divinity. We don't have to take direction from them. And covering our ears and going la 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 la, which can sometimes be my method, I will tell you, la 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 is probably not the most spiritually mature way to approach things, right? And we are reminded in this quote by Meister Eckhart Spirituality is not to be learned by flight from the world, or by running away from things, Penny, or by turning solitary and going apart from the world. Rather, we must learn an inner solitude, wherever or whomever we may be. We must learn to penetrate things and find God there. Mr. Rogers gives us the sound advice of, be nice. Mariana Pogasan, a PhD in an article in Psychology Today, says this: empathy is a complex, multifaceted construct, and it refers to the emotional or intellectual identification with another person. So our human ability to empathize is called the building block of society and morality. How about that? Right? It puts a little more emphasis on it. You know, and Freud told us that only through empathy are we able to understand another person's life. So what science has made clear is this, is that empathy reduces the distance between us and others. It facilitates social connectedness and coherence. And as a measure of emotional intelligence,